If the system was never designed for everyone to become wealthy, then the real question isn't emotional. It's structural. Who actually benefits from the way the system is built? Because once you understand that answer, you stop guessing, and you start seeing patterns instead of illusions. Before we continue, one important clarification. These beneficiaries groups are not part of some secret alliance working together behind the scenes. They simply follow their own incentives inside the same system. That distinction matters. Now let's look at who benefits. Every time money is earned, spent, borrowed, repaid, or invested, the system keeps moving. And when the system keeps moving, certain institutions benefit from that movement. Corporations. Think about it. Every time you buy a product, upgrade a device, renew a subscription, or follow the latest trend, revenue is created. Growth continues. Shareholders benefit. Businesses expand. From the perspective of a corporation, continuous consumption is not a problem. It is the objective. In a consumer-driven economy, attention itself has become valuable. Your attention becomes demand. Demand becomes profit. And profit fuels the cycle again. Banks and financial institutions. Banks benefit when money keeps moving. Borrowing, spending, repayment, interest. Debt is not simply a financial tool. It is part of the structure that keeps the financial system active. Credit can create opportunity. It can help people buy homes, start businesses, or solve immediate problems. But it also creates long-term obligations that keep money flowing through the system. The more active the cycle, the more valuable the system becomes to those operating within it. Governments benefit from productive economies because productive economies generate employment, tax revenue, consumption, business activity, economic growth. A functioning economy requires participation. The more people working, producing, spending, and contributing, the more stable the system becomes. Employers and institutions. Employers benefit from predictability. A workforce that consistently shows up, follows structure, solves problems, and exchanges time for income. Predictability makes large organizations easier to manage, easier to scale, and easier to grow. The pattern most people miss. Now step back and look at the bigger picture. Corporations need consumers. Banks need financial activity. Governments need economic participation. Employers need productive workers. Different institutions, different goals, but one shared outcome. They all benefit when people remain active participants in the system. And that's the point. The system doesn't need everyone to become wealthy. It only needs enough people to keep participating. The emotional trap. This is where many people make a mistake. They hear this and immediately think, the system is against me. I'm trapped. Someone else is winning while I lose. That reaction is understandable, but it is also dangerous because it transforms understanding into resentment. And resentment without direction changes nothing. Blame does not create freedom. Awareness does. The hidden reality. Here is the part most people never realize. The strongest system is not the one that forces obedience. It is the one that makes obedience feel normal. When you stay unconscious inside a system, everything starts to feel natural. Trading all your time for money feels normal. Living paycheck to paycheck feels normal. Constant consumption feels normal. Financial stress feels normal. Even limitations begin to feel normal. And that is where the real power exists. Not in force, but in normalization. But the moment you truly understand the structure, something changes. Not outside. Inside you. You stop being just a participant. You become an observer. And for the first time, you begin to see choices that were always there. You question assumptions you never questioned before. You challenge routines you once accepted automatically. You stop living on default mode. And then something even more important happens. You stop seeing your life as a series of obligations and start seeing it as a series of choices. That is where everything changes. At some point, every person who understands this realizes something important. This is no longer just about the system. It is about personal direction. Because two people can live under the exact same conditions, inside the exact same economy, and experience completely different outcomes. Why? Because they make different decisions. They develop different skills, build different habits, acquire different knowledge, and prioritize different things. The difference is not always the system. Often, the difference is how people respond to it. So now the question is no longer about structure. It is about choice. Will you continue trading all your time for income alone? Or will you start building assets that grow beyond your time? Will you continue consuming by default? Or begin investing in knowledge and skills? Will you follow the path that was handed to you? Or intentionally create your own? Because the system does not decide your future, but it does influence your choices, and awareness determines whether you follow those choices blindly or consciously. Financial freedom is not a moment. It is a process. It begins with awareness, then education, then action, then discipline, then consistency. Most people reach awareness. Very few continue beyond it. And that is where the separation happens. Not in a single day, but through repeated decisions over time. The system was never designed for you to win by default. But it was never designed to stop you from winning either. It simply operates according to its own structure. And structure does not care whether you understand it. But once you do, you stop moving blindly inside it. You begin moving intentionally within it. And when enough people reach that level of awareness, they stop waiting for permission to change their lives. They start building their own paths. This is the final chapter of the series. The system was never designed for you to win. From part 1 to part 4, we questioned assumptions. We examined the structure. We explored the incentives. We identified the beneficiaries. And finally, we returned responsibility back to the individual. Because the purpose of this series was never to create fear. It was never to create anger. It was never to create excuses. The purpose was awareness. Because awareness is where real change begins. If this series changed the way you think, don't let it end as entertainment. Turn it into action. Learn one financial skill. Study how money actually moves. Develop one ability that increases your value. Make one decision your future self will thank you for. And most importantly, don't return to unconscious living. If you want more content like this, subscribe. Because understanding the world is valuable, but learning how to navigate it is even more valuable. You now see the system, and once you truly see the game, you can never play it the same way again. So the only question left is simple. What will you do with that knowledge?